Hello, everybody. Welcome to 2026. We have an amazing guest today. He is a top 30 under 30 Coldwell banker, real estate agent here from the West Kootenays. I've known him personally and worked with him, and I refer to him as a true professional because that's honestly what he is. So, welcome today's guest, Jake Sherbinin.
What's happening, Tyler? Thanks for having me on. Looking forward to this. Start the new year off right.
Oh yeah, man, I'm excited. We've got some history together. I know we grew up around the same area, kind of, maybe got into a little bit of trouble back in the day even, and had some fun. And I've seen your career grow, and I know you come from a generational family of realtors.
Definitely, yeah. Born and raised in the Kootenays here between Castlegar and Nelson. Grew up, my dad was in real estate. He's been in for like over 30 years now. My grandmother was in real estate at one point in time. And my auntie is a huge producer over in the East Kootenays in Cranbrook. So definitely big real estate background. And before I was doing real estate, so this June will already be 10 years, which is crazy. So before real estate, the other half of the family is kind of in like construction and logging, road building. So doing that. And then, as soon as I was able to get licensed, hopped in and never looked back really. So
That's
now
wild.
Here we are.
Yeah, 10 years, man.
Yeah.
Wow, it's funny because it goes fast. I guess it kind of feels like that, but I guess it doesn't feel like that.
Yeah, it's crazy because it does go fast. And when you think about it, like you and me got started on video way back in the day. And, it goes fast.
Yeah, for sure. And then, so is that kind of the reason why you got into real estate? Was because of your family influences, or like what are some of the things that piqued your interest?
Yeah, definitely. Just seeing kind of the lifestyle and some of the, not that you have a ton of flexibility in the business because it's like you're always on go, but it's just different. Like you don't know what each day is going to bring kind of thing. And it's in the past jobs I've worked at, that's what I just got bored of. And then definitely the family influence too, having help getting into it was huge. But just trying the new career, and it's every day is a new journey. So that's what I like about it.
Yeah, I guess that's so true because it takes a lot of self-motivation, I guess.
Definitely self-motivation and discipline, which I'm still trying to learn.
Yeah, aren't we all? That's so funny. Yeah, so true. So there's just one more thing I wanted to touch on before we get into everything, but you just got nominated for a big award, or did you receive the award? Or
I received that for 2025. Myself and three others were selected from Canada for Coldwell Bankers Top 30 Under 30 internationally. So that was pretty sweet. Didn't expect that one, but that was awesome. So I was actually just on a call with those guys earlier today, and we're going to do like a kind of like a panel discussion next week for Coldwell Banker just on what we did to kind of get here. So that's it was super exciting receiving that. So I'm stoked to be part of that group and on that conversation.
Is that something that we can watch, or is that like an internal thing, or what?
No, there will definitely be it's a registration, and it's set for the 13th. So I don't know if this episode will be out by then or not, but we can. There will be an external link, so I'll share that with you for sure.
Okay, I will do my best to get things done and put a link down in the description, and hopefully he'll be out there. That would be awesome. Okay, so you were wanting to talk a little bit about your selling process today and what that looks like, and some things that people can implement to help them out.
Totally, yeah. Just touch on like the listing side of things. I'd say 70% of my business is working with sellers, and that was just kind of my goal from the get-go. I love working with sellers, representing, marketing their homes like we did with all the video. To touch on that and just some good information for people out there. So in a nutshell, when you're coming down to the listing side of things, obviously you're going to be interviewing some agents, see who you get along with, obviously, get them in, get an evaluation done. And that evaluation, as an agent, this is all my opinion on this stuff. Agents don't determine the value, it's the market, right? Like it's, if it is a buyer's market, you're gonna have a lower price. If it's a seller's market, you're gonna have a higher price. So when we're doing that evaluation, the market conditions are extremely important. So you look at the conditions, you look at all the data, recent solds, what's currently on the market, what has an offer, what doesn't have an offer. Take all that into account. And the way I like to do it when I go about pricing, when I put the report together and sit down with the potential seller, is we always look at timelines. So, someone that has to be gone for a job transfer within 30 days is going to have a bit more motivation than someone that's wanted to test the market kind of thing, right? So we have kind of a tiered system, or at least I have a tiered system that we look at different timelines and pricing, and then we just sit down and talk about it and figure out basically the best plan for the owner, seller moving forward. And then once we get that piece sorted, we'll draft up the listing contract. And again, the listing contract is just allowing myself and as an agent to represent the seller, legally advertise their property, and upon a successful closing, get paid at the closing. The offer side of it, that's when it really comes down to the selling, the price, the dates, the terms. So it's kind of two separate sides all under the same umbrella. Once that listing paperwork's done and get all the photography and media and marketing together, once we have that, you have the package, you roll that out all through paid ads. I can talk about that all day, but yeah, we have our systems we run it through, and then get that advertising in front of the right buyers rather than waiting for buyers to see the listing. We really push it out there, get those buyers, and get the showings in and get an offer going.
So I guess it's from day one, it's important to get the bigger picture of what people are actually doing, because you might have somebody who's just throwing their place on the market and they don't really care, and if the right opportunity comes, then it comes, and that's good. Or like you're saying, you have somebody who is moving to Alberta or wherever they're going, and they're in a bit of a rush, or I guess you could have a subject to sale where it's like extreme panic mode, right? I know I get some of those calls where the deal, it's like done, and then it, subject to financing, so it's a bit of a panic. But I guess some of the ways that sellers and buyers and in kind of the same group can avoid those things are by having conversations with their realtor or their broker prior, getting the bigger pictures,
absolutely,
explaining to them their actual plan, so that when it comes down to crunch time, it's not a panic and they're prepared. Right?
Exactly. Have basically a game plan to navigate. And that's one other thing. Obviously, everyone wants to get as much money for their place as possible. So, in those certain situations where you want to try on the higher side of the market and really test it, what I always like talking to sellers with is, every 2 weeks, like, let's check the stats, let's check everything. We can definitely try it on the higher side, but if we're not getting action, every 2 weeks for sure, let's check in, reevaluate. Is it time to make an adjustment? And every 2 weeks, basically, so the listing doesn't get stale. And that's one little piece I like doing for when people do want to try it on the higher side.
Do you think, what is more important in your opinion? Like, I guess this is just your opinion. Whatever.
For sure.
Take it as it will, but is it more important to actually sell the place or get the highest value dollar for the client? Like, what's the actual most important piece of it? Because I know people just see numbers and it's exciting.
Yeah.
Right. But when you come in, you're the professional. How do you manage, I guess, those emotions and really bring people into reality and say, hey, maybe if you actually do want this to happen, these are some realistic numbers. Here's your comparables. How do you go about doing that? And like, what's the actual important thing there to unpack?
Yeah, it is. That's a tricky one for sure. For sure. It is tricky. The biggest piece I find for myself is really back to your question, definitely getting it sold for sure. Just getting it sold, because
number one,
I've been in situations before where we get optimistic and try on the high side, and then it's 3 months later, and now it's like we just want to put a sold sign up, and you've been on the market for 3 months, and to get that traction going again can be pretty darn difficult.
And everybody kind of gets drained.
Yeah,
then it's
absolutely.
Like, okay, what's going on?
Yeah, getting it sold is most important for sure. But yeah, to have those conversations, it's really, I find it's really just having a good conversation with the client and getting really clear what their motivations are, what their goals are, and Yeah, like definitely the market conditions and data are one piece of it for sure, but just knowing what their wants, needs, motivations are, and just really weighing the options of, hey, does a extra $10,000 or $15,000 worth it, or would you rather be on to the next chapter? So there's a lot of different variables that go into it, but I would say the most important one, aside from the market and sales data, is definitely just their motivations of how bad they want to get onto that next chapter, really.
I guess that also you talked about interviewing different realtors, how people can decide who's going to be best for them. And I have seen that a lot because I worked with a lot of different realtors in my old job and this job now. And I always say there's a realtor for everyone. They reach out and say, who do you think? And it's funny because I like everybody. So it's so hard for me to like just send one person like all the time and be like, use this guy, use this guy. So I actually really think, what is the personality type of the person that, is asking me this? Are they a calm person?
Yeah.
Are they relaxed? Are they hyper? So totally. I actually do try to match them up with some of those personality types in the realtors that I work with, because there's some people that are hyper and that's great. And that works for other people. And some people are calm and whatever. And it doesn't matter. Everything works. And there's always a person for, the client. And that's so important, I think, is finding the right match, because then everybody's happy, everybody's working together, and that's key.
Thing. Yeah, that is key. I totally agree with that. I've been in, and that's where it's always nice for a seller that's going to sell, just to interview some people, because I've definitely been in situations before where I've met with people, and you just know off the bat that it's just two opposites. It's just not, you're just not going to work out, especially when you get into some tense or stressful times. Under negotiations or, talking about certain dates, some of those critical things that come up. So if you can that's one thing I've learned from experience, if you can kind of just understand the types of people that, you get along with and work well, saves a lot of hassle and stress down the road for sure. Yeah, there is a type for everyone.
That's honestly one of the biggest reasons why I started this podcast, because, it can be so stressful, but it also doesn't have to be stressful. And that's like my message to everyone is it actually, it seems so stressful and there's so much going on, but it's when you make things simple, like the title says, and you get prepared and you talk to your realtor and you're on the same page and things are lining up.
Yeah,
it takes so much of that stress out of it. And I have seen it so many times where people are panicking and it's just not a good spot to be. It's not fun. It's everything, seems to always kind of work out in the end, however it works out. That's such as life. But man, it is a lot more fun of a process. It should be a fun process. Like
exactly. Yeah. And that's I was on a call earlier with that, just kind of doing a review with the top 30 under 30 guys. We were just reviewing some questions, and pretty much all of us agreed to like, what do you try to do to keep referrals or get referrals and keep happy clients? And it's like, obviously you got to do a good job for sure, but just because everything can be so stressful, like it's definitely serious, but have fun with it. Like you got to have fun, right? Like try to take some of that stress off and turning clients almost into friends in a way, right? And just like, there always are going to be issues in deals, so may as well try and make the best of it and make add some humor in there and just try to keep things light as possible. And that's what I found. That's the way I like to run my business. And
I used to have a saying that I would tell people, and this happened to me a couple times in my old career, and they would say, "Oh, like it looks like you're having too much fun."
Yeah.
And maybe you're not taking it so serious. And I actually had to say it says when I'm not having fun and I'm looking too serious, that's when something wrong is happening.
Exactly.
Because then I'm panicking. But when things are flowing and you're having fun and
that's the best.
You're communicating openly and it's just like easy, then there's nothing to worry about.
No.
So I thought that was such an interesting thing that I ran into with a couple clients. Didn't have to happen often.
Yeah.
They were just I guess they were just serious people, but yeah, it's funny because some people I'm thinking in particular, we're really good friends on like a personal side, and then there's the business side, and honestly, we've just come to the mutual decision that we don't work well together, and that's okay. And,
Absolutely.
And I've learned that lesson, and I always try to fit people too. Like if they don't fit with me or whatever, that's fine.
Totally.
You have that choice. And I think that's what makes a good realtor or a good broker is not taking on the situations that aren't going to be successful. It's like you read the situation and you make it successful. So
absolutely, yeah. And then it's professionals like yourself or myself, feel the tension with the client, and the client feels the tension, and that's just like a not good experience right from the get-go, right? So being able to really have those conversations and just have those vibes when you meet people. And that's one thing I wanted to mention too, is that's where I found when we started doing lots of video content with the property tours and just all the other pieces we would do. That's where I found I started working with, not that I had a lot of people that, just weren't the right match, but with doing more video content, able to put yourself out there, which was tough at first, but then once you were able to put my personality out there through video, I started to realize that, a lot of people that would see those videos would be like, hey, this guy's not for me, or they'd be like, hey, I'd like to work with this guy. So there's been a lot less, I'd say 99.9% of the people that reach out to me to work with me, we're just like, get along great, because they already kind of have a read on my personality. So
that's
which
true.
is cool. That's one thing, the video, aside from the marketing perspective of the properties, that's one thing I've seen it helped my business. So that's pretty cool.
That's cool. I've never heard that before, where it's they kind of they see you and you kind of have that even though you don't have a relationship, it's like you kind of almost do, especially when you're yourself, right? So,
exactly. Yeah, exactly. So that's one cool piece I've found that's helped my business for sure.
Cool. And then, so speaking on the video and the photo side, so you always bring in a professional photographer to do that stuff. You and I worked together for years before I finally made the transition over. That's how I know so many realtors and that kind of stuff. And I have all these connections because I worked in the business for 10 years.
Absolutely,
10 years doing that stuff. So it's crazy now that I've actually transferred over, but I'm loving it. So you always bring in a professional photographer. What does that look like for the sellers?
Yeah. So how we do that then is once we have the our listing documents and basically game plan moving forward all organized, we will obviously schedule with the sellers, pick the best weather day possible, schedule with everyone, get the photographer in there, and we'll spend, I don't know, obviously depending on the property, but a couple hours there. And we go through, we do the video tour, all the photos, the drone, everything. And then once that piece is done, get it all edited up, put it into a package. And then once we have that package, we can start doing some pre-advertising and then roll it out onto the MLS and blast it with ads.
So have you, because you did a lot of your own content before. I guess there's a few benefits to that, is you have that free time now because you're not actually doing it. Somebody else is doing it, so you're more focused on working with your clients and stuff. And then,
for sure.
But have you noticed a difference between just throwing up a couple cell phone pictures, or having the professional content? For me, as being an outsider, when I'm shopping for houses or looking, I tend to skip over the listings that have bad photos, and I don't know if that's just a me thing. Maybe that's just subjective, but
I totally agree. Yeah, totally agree. And I know when I was getting started in the business, when we first started dabbling into the professional photography, when I was getting started, that's one thing that definitely helped my business stand out, is people were seeing holy, this guy's the photos look great, the video looks great, and that's it's their house you're representing, and they take a lot of pride in it, and it's like their baby in a way, right? So you want to make sure it looks awesome. And that's one thing that really helped my business grow at the beginning, when not a lot of people were doing it. And it just, showcases the property the way it should be.
I guess, do we have more, in your opinion, buyers from out of town even? if they if they're shopping for a place, I guess it makes it a little bit easier for them to get an idea before they maybe make the choice to come out. They actually know. I had a really cool conversation. Probably 6 years ago, I was shooting a house out by past Nelson, 6 Mile area, and it was like a $3.5 million house.
Yeah.
The person didn't even live there. It was like a guest house or something, I swear. But I ended up talking to the owner, who was some high up realtor out in Ontario.
Okay.
So she was talking to me, and she said it's so much easier now, because back in my day when I was doing this, you'd have to show 100 houses before they made an offer or did anything, because people just didn't know what the actual place looked like.
Yeah.
So now it's like people have 5 places that they've picked out online.
Exactly.
They've kind of previewed it. They have like a vision in their mind already. And she said that she was showing a lot less places nowadays because the pictures are better and that kind of thing, and it leads to just moving product faster and transactions happening maybe quicker. But
yeah, I definitely agree with that. Just the way advertising and like the photos, photography, like even drones in the last 5 years, how they've changed things. I see that with a lot of buyers coming to our area. They'll get my advice for good locations. They obviously get their list of what they're looking for, and I'll help guide them on that. But I'm noticing a lot of people that are coming to the area, they already have a pretty darn good idea of what they want to look at. Because I've had people before come to me with a short list of 3 coming into town, and we meet up, we look at a few, and then I say, okay, now that we looked at a few, here's I got a pretty good feeling of what you guys are looking for. Run a couple by them. And they're just like, nope, this isn't it, and boom, wrote on one of the 3 they brought to me, because they just with the advertising, they just know. And I'm that type of person too. When I see something, I know it, and you can't tell me otherwise.
For sure. I'm like that too, but there is people that aren't like that too.
So no, definitely not.
Being a realtor is hard, way harder than it. I always say I can never be a realtor, because there's so much of that personality thing going on.
Definitely,
and I'm happy where I just kind of get to hide behind my computer.
Exactly,
And I have cool conversations with people, and I just make the numbers work. And I'm really a numbers guy, so it works for me, and I love that. And I kind of skip out on that whole face-to-face thing a lot of the time. So
there's a lot of not so much selling houses. You're definitely managing emotions in my field of things, for sure. Kind of like a therapist in a way.
Oh man. So then you get to the point where potentially they have an offer come in. You present them with any and all offers that come in.
It's another thing we should probably touch on too. Not that we're in that market so much anymore, but like the crazy COVID market. So that was wild. That was wild because you'd get your marketing together. You'd list a place on Monday, do all the advertising blast, and just say we're reviewing offers Sunday at 5 p.m. and show it throughout the week, and then sit down with the seller at 5 p.m. and look at the 10 or 15 offers that came in, sort through them, pick the best one, counter offer it or change dates if you had to, and boom, it's done. So like it was so different back then. So different. So that was those were different times, and those times are long gone now.
So now it's a bit more, would you say it's like more how it was when you started real estate, or is it totally completely different? Like has it leveled back out to then, or is it something that
I'd say it's definitely balanced again. Like it's leveled back out similar to when I started, other than just the prices being up, because they shot up over COVID there, and they've definitely come down, but they haven't come down nearly as much as they went up. But it's definitely balanced. Right now, we're sitting in more of a buyer's market, because I always watch the absorption rate. So the absorption rate, I always talk about it on social media, but it's how much of each month's inventory is actually selling. So we always look at it in a 30-day period. Forget the last newsletter I did, but I think, roughly Castlegar is sitting around 8 or 10%, and Nelson was right around the same 8 or 10% over the last 30 days. So that means like 8 to 10% of what's on the market is actually selling.
So if there's like 10 houses on the market, around one house sells or whatever, or 0.8 of a house or whatever.
Yeah. So back in the COVID market, we were seeing as high as like 80 to 95 absorption rate. So that was like in that month, 85 or no, sorry, yeah, it was between 80 to 95 absorption rate. So 80 to 95% of everything that was on the market was selling that month. So which is unheard of. So we usually sit around like, as soon as you get over 20%, that's more of a seller's market. So we're usually in that, 18 to 25% range. So seeing the COVID stats versus now, like it's just completely changed, which is crazy.
That is wild. It honestly amazes me because here in the West Kootenays, it feels so small, but there's so much happening.
Lots.
You're dealing with shooting 2 houses a day, 5 days a week, or 3 houses a day, 5 days a week when I was shooting content, and it just amazes me that there's that much I'm like how is that even a thing? But people maybe underestimate the market here because there is a lot of potential. There's a lot of turnover happening. There's a lot. You can find the right deal. So it's important to pay attention to things like that, like the absorption rate.
For sure, yeah. And like even, I totally know what you mean. It feels like a small area, but there's always people coming and going, like lots of lifestyle stuff, lots of diversity through Castlegar for employment. So there's all sorts of options, and you always see job transfers. And then Nelson has a crazy draw to it as well, just the lifestyle. All of Kootenays for the lifestyle. So it's, there's never... I love our area because it's almost like recession proof in a way, because there's just so much going on here, from the different employment to the different draws, the lifestyle. Like there's always people coming and going, which is cool. So
and it's not priced itself out yet from what I've seen. It's
you
still
can still like
reasonable.
definitely, like in today's world, you can still get into a house at a reasonable price for sure. Like they definitely went up. And if you want to spend a lot of money, you definitely can spend a lot of money. But if you want to get into the market and work your way up, you can definitely do that. But you have to, definitely put in some sweat equity and maybe some fixer uppers if you want to really get a good deal. But you could still get in our area and into the market for a decent price.
Yeah, so we're kind of talking a little bit about numbers there, and how prices have changed and whatnot. And I know. I just seen a video of yours talking about the recent BC assessments that came out. What are your thoughts on that? I know I always see panic when that comes out online, where it's like, mine went up again, my property taxes, this and that. And what do you think about all that?
Yeah, the assessments are, personally as an agent, before I go to a house, I'll pull an assessment up just to see some of the details. But when it comes to looking at market stats or market evaluations, pricing, I don't use the assessment at all. They vary so much. Like house over here could be assessed at $650. The house across the street could be the exact same house assessed at $750. Like they just vary so much here. So whenever people see those, and you obviously see some cases where houses will sell close to assessed value, but a lot of it is under, lots of it is over. So it's all over the map with assessments. In my opinion, I always think the lower you can have your assessment, the better, because it's just how much tax you're paying. Just whatever they have your house assessed at is just based on how much tax you're paying. Like I don't use it, and for a lender, you probably don't really use it for the lending side.
The lender needs an actual bank. Like people will say, "This is what my BC assessment is," and send me the things all the time, and I just say thank you, but the lenders always need a bank appraisal, which is when you actually hire an appraiser. They come, they assess the property, they have their own comparables, they have their own metrics and systems, and that is what the bank actually uses to set their value. So a lot of times, if people are doing a refinance or taking out a cash equity takeout renewal from their property to get some money, those are things that we need to get done, like an actual bank appraisal. And then lenders can lend up to 80% a lot of times on a property, but that's not based off BC assessment. That's based off the actual bank appraisal. So BC assessment is kind of like I
Yeah.
look at it to get some information on
Yeah.
the property.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, and kind of get a file started and look at taxes
Totally.
and look at the way it's kind of going. But there's no actual numbers that I really pull off that.
Yeah,
It's
me
it's,
too.
I guess it can be it's a starting point, but for sure, the bank isn't going to use it as its
Yeah,
go-to. So.
yeah, and I don't use it either when doing evaluations. Like you say, use it as a starting point, get some of the information from there. But when it comes down to true value, yeah, they can all over the place, all over the place.
Yeah,
So
and I guess one thing that, if I can explain a little bit how it actually affects your property taxes in the simplest way, just because your BC assessment goes up, it doesn't mean you're actually going to be paying more taxes, because it's all relevant to your municipality budget. So say if your municipal budget is $1 billion,
Yeah.
I don't know, I hope it's not, but
yeah,
but whatever. If it's $1 billion and you pay a percentage towards that budget, and every home in that municipality is paying a percentage
Yeah.
towards that budget, and that's how the budget is gathered and created. So if everybody's BC assessment is going up by a couple percent, you're still sitting in that same spot that you were the year prior,
Yeah.
and you're still responsible for your single percentage of the yearly budget. I guess. So it's important to not necessarily panic when it's going up. It's maybe not as important as it seems. It is
Yeah.
important, but it's it's not a gray, or like it's not a black or white thing. It's
Definitely.
it's a bit of a gray, because
Yeah.
it all goes towards your municipal budget, and that's how it actually affects you. So even if you see it going up, that might not necessarily mean that
Yes.
you're going to be paying more taxes, but it also might, right?
Yeah, going to the budget.
There's
so.
a bit of a gray area there,
Yeah,
for sure. So.
Yeah, no, and that's the cool thing too, is just from your point too. You look at it for a starting point, but the bank gets their own appraisal or assessment done, right? So
Yeah. Right on.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
is there any cool stuff coming up in the new year for you here? And
yeah, in the new year here, we're I know Coldwell Banker Executives is going to be opening up a shop in Nelson, so super excited about that. Don't have all the details on that yet, but I know that will be coming here in the next few months. So it'll be awesome to get some office space in Nelson and kind of tackle both markets now.
yeah, that's awesome to expand. Where's your general area that you like to stay? Or
General area. So my I have a home office and I have an office in Castlegar. So cover Castlegar rural areas, Nelson rural areas, out to Fruitvale, Salmo, basically the big triangle of the town. So cover that way. As soon as you start getting, at least for me, as soon as you start getting close to start getting out there to Caslow or Creston, or pushing it to, for me, Christina Lake. I don't know those areas as well. Like, definitely know the areas from growing up, but from a due diligence standpoint or a negotiation standpoint, that's where I cap it. I don't go kind of out that way. Just stick to what I really know, and yeah, that's kind of my bread and butter right there.
yeah, that makes total sense. Then you're not spreading yourself too thin.
Exactly, yeah.
And you actually are knowledgeable and a professional,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Cool. Yeah,
You got it.
that makes tons of sense. And if people want to get a hold of you, what's the best way?
Best way is to shoot me a DM, give me a call or text, send me an email, all over social media. So social media, or find my website, and we'll get a hold of you.
Right on. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in and paying attention. Jake, like I say, he's a true professional, so I'm super stoked to have him on here and talk about a bit about the selling process and a few other things. So we'll catch you guys
thank you.
on the next episode, and
Awesome.
we'll see you later.